Snakeheist. A dollar store caper. Okay. I will tell you what happened. I confess. There are theories and facts. But facts can change their faces. We are called upon to look for clues, and I am a detective on the hunt. There's a windstorm, and I am a wannabe zealot. I am a wannabe good boy. I always want to be a good boy. That's the way it starts. Grandma always told me, wannabe, there's only one way to be a good boy, and that's to get to bed on time. If you stay up too late, your head is gonna get spooky. Your head is gonna go wrong. I tell you, I don't like the bed. We are enemies. The bed will never let me get to sleep. Soon as I crawl under the covers, I hear sounds and rumors, people talking bad about me. Leave me alone. I only want to quietly drift off to sleep, but this is the beginning of a windstorm, and all of these voices was a wind. They piled on top of each other and lifted me up.
I was flying high above the city. Wowee! Look at me. I'm above everybody. I can see everybody and no one can touch me. It was like going on a merry-go-round. Faster and faster, it flew up into the sky. And I was spinning around. First, I was afraid, and then I was laughing. I was flying through the sky in my PJs. This is hilarious. Look at the cars. Look at the people late for work, and I am not one of them. I am in the air. But then I got confused. I started to doubt myself. Why am I flying away? It's crazy. But the voices and the wind got muddled, and I fell back to the ground. I landed in the park, hit the dirt hard. Everybody is staring at me. The people walking their dogs and waking up with their coffee. Why is this guy in the park at 7 a.m. in his PJs? But I just laughed and laughed and laughed. That's what I do when I get nervous. Grandma says I need to get to bed on time. From the wind to the earth to the water, I see possibilities. But Grandma doesn't want me to see possibilities. She simply wants me to behave. Read your Bible and be a good boy. Well, that's fine, but when I read my Bible, I hear voices too. The first story is about a snake who's supposed to be the bad guy, but I knew he wasn't. That's what the voices do to you, turn you against your friends.
I sat down and I resolved to make friends with Mr. Snake. He's actually a very wise old snake. He's traveled the world and knows it all. I hear his voice at night. It comes through the window. If you find me, wannabe, you gotta call me by my one true name, and then I will reveal all my secrets. One true name? Who is this snake anyway? This sounded like fun, like an adventure. And so I set forth to find Mr. Snake. Part 2.
Mystery upon mystery. That's what it's like if you are a detective. And let me tell you, being a detective makes you hungry. The hunger is distinct and overwhelming. The hunger carries its own power. Of course, Grandma doesn't understand this. She never understood. Wannabe, if you carry on this way, you will eat us out of house and home. As if. I am a human being of sorts. I do not eat walls and furniture. So what if I need an extra sandwich to complete my mission? The fact of the matter was that this was a turning point. Grandma left this chocolate cake in the refrigerator. I knew it wasn't for me. It was for her special gathering. But somehow, every time I opened the refrigerator, the cake was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Mind your own business, cake." To the point that I started to eat the whole damn cake. Right there, out of the refrigerator, just so the cake would shut its face. And then Grandma appears and gets that look, and she says, "Wannabe, what have you done?" And I saw my face in the hallway mirror, all covered in chocolate, and Grandma told me to leave, and I did. She invited me to leave, for this was my moment.
Part 3. Oh, there are lessons. You better believe it. Events happen, and they are always speaking to us, offering up all kinds of information, which must be recorded and analyzed, for I am a wannabe zealot. There are a multitude of voices transmitting through the globosphere, and of course, each detective must investigate each sound and determine its veracity. Well, there I was. I escaped Grandma's house. Now the dilemma. Where do I go? I picked up my bicycle and began to ride as fast as possible. Moving. Have you ever noticed the way moving thinks and thinking moves almost at the same speed? Seriously, aren't all of you detectives, and haven't you noticed the thinking and the moving chasing each other until crash, boom? Well, that's the way I see it. And I was thinking about the snake's voice. He said I was called to discover his true name. So confusing. The true name of a snake? We're not familiar with snakes having names. Names for people, not reptiles. And yet, the snake requested an identity, or that I discover his true identity. Detective Wannabe Zealot, you are hired. I swerved on my bicycle, and I zoomed out to the first location which appeared correct. Faster and faster towards the local zoo. The zoo. Chapter 4. Wannabe is pedaling faster and faster towards the zoo. But there's a catch. The faster I move my legs, the slower moves the bicycle. What is the source of this dark magic?
And then I understood. Grandma's head appears above the handlebars, vast and ghostly. "What do you want?" I scream. But the ghost grandma is silent, growing bigger and bigger, giving me that look. Grandma's not happy. Grandma's never happy. It's how she maintains perfection. Grandma is immune to voices. For once you start listening to voices, you are tuned in, and that is dangerous. So what? I am a wannabe zealot. I choose to follow absolute logic. And well, people are addicted to stories. The first time I saw Grandma's Bible, I called it the Old Man Book. I could not read the letters, but I saw the letters, and I was amazed. For each letter twisting and moving, it was not the action of a story, it was the story of the story, a mutation. Characters and stories moving faster than cells in a body. My story began with getting evicted from Grandma's house for eating a cake that wasn't mine. Other people got evicted from paradise for eating stuff that wasn't theirs. Here's my question. Why are you gonna put food in front of my face if I'm not supposed to eat it? It doesn't make sense. It's a religious question, seriously. If there's cake in the refrigerator just like a commercial, I'm gonna eat the damn cake. How am I supposed to block out voices, stare at walls, and eat green beans? No way! I refuse. So now, I'm speeding through space on my bicycle, headed to the zoo. Do you see now the connection between religion and food? Eating and thinking?
Chapter 5. Meanwhile, Grandma is cooking delicious food. It's her power. Smells rise up to the atmosphere. Grandma whispering to herself. We don't know what she is saying. Spells and smells and spells and smells, spells and smells. Grandma stretching streets into buildings, stretching time backwards. The faster I ride, the further I am from the zoo. The bicycle is shrinking into a toy. Somehow I keep pedaling. The only other tool is determination. Yes, Grandma and her old man book. She believes this book will protect us. But words are not solid. Words disappear, spell out different ideas depending on who reads. Do you hear me? Voices demand we listen. Even the old man demanded an audience.
Chapter 6. But then yes, I got to the zoo, finally. And the day was perfect like a movie. Families moving in and out. Nature is an amusement park. Kids guzzling popcorn and popsicles, pointing at the animals. Because nature is a machine. One boy threw a hot dog at an alligator. What did he want to see? The whole mystery of creation. Why you go to the zoo, I don't know. I might go to the mall and buy a pair of pants. Violence can happen anywhere. Moving around, a display case of animals, zebras, elephants, birds acting weird, and then down the hill to a sunken building, the Snakehouse. The Snakehouse was cool and dark, nobody inside, quiet. Snakes don't need to say anything. When Grandma watched her game show, she jerked up in her chair, eyes bright and determined. "I am the winner," she cried. "I am the winner." I was never good at games. Rules do not interest me. But there was Mr. Snake in the center case, coiled up and staring back at me, waiting. No instructions. I had to figure it out. It was part of the test. I know about disguises. I lifted one of the employee uniforms. Brown shirt, brown pants, floppy hat. For every uniform is a story. Makes you important. It gives you access.
Chapter 7. What's so bad about information anyway? And if you eat from this tree, your eyes will be open? The old man didn't want us to know. No, he did not. And pow! Service interruption! Chapter 8.
Wanabe busted into the dollar store, lifted up the snake. "This is a stick-up," he cried. "Nobody move." And he went forth into the dollar store and piled up snacks and socks and underwear. He slipped on some fly sunglasses and he spoke. The old man was the first celebrity, but we're all celebrities now if we want to be. And he posed for the camera. The cashier in the corner texted her boyfriend, "There's some guy in here with a snake and he's out of his mind." Outside, the snake regarded Wanabe. "What do you want?" "I'm not a cartoon," hissed Wanabe. "I'm a man." The snake sighed. The snake was alive 1,000 years or more. He understood time. He slid on his belly, but he could see the whole picture. It was not for him to decide. This kid wants magic. And why shouldn't he? We all crave magic against the dust settling on our lives. Soon, we are all old furniture. Well, he busted me out of that zoo. Maybe I owe him that much. And Wanabe proclaimed, "For I am a rock star." "Whatever," hissed the snake. Then Wanabe broke into a green car near the dollar store. The snake sighed, blinked his eyes. The motor roared. Wanabe smiled, drunk, dropped Mr. Snake into the passenger seat, and they took off in search. Snake bite! Snake bite! Snake bite! Snake bite!
Part 2. Grandma.
Witness the old woman trembling as she prepares tea and toast, lifting cup to ancient mouth. I learned about fear. I tried to teach Wanabe, but he never listened. Children don't listen now. World spinning in the wrong direction. The doorbell rings. The old woman straightens skirt, shuffles to the door for news. There is Officer Joan Arc. Holds up a picture of Wanabe. Where is he? What's he done? They explain about the zoo. Damn snakes. Ma'am? Officer Joan shifts her weight. Do you know where he might be? Are there relatives? Known associates? Grandma looks up, breath like cobwebs. I took him to see the 10 Commandments. Wanabe loved that movie. Watched it over and over. Fascinated. Especially when Moses threw down his staff and it became a serpent. He grabbed my arm then, with eyes wide. Grandma, look at that. Officer Joan clicked her pen and wrote the words Moses and snakes in her little pad.
Witness Grandma, dozing in her chair. The days move into each other. Where is the boy? The room watching her. A picture of Wanabe, 8 years old, sits on the coffee table. Where is he now? She remembered taking him to see the 10 Commandments. It was a different Wanabe. He dropped his popcorn, pointed at the screen. Grandma, Moses is good, but Pharaoh is slick. It was the one time she slapped him. He never got the message. Grandma clutching the old man book, always looking down upon him. A frail woman, but not really. And now, he doesn't even speak. He's no longer a boy, head boiling over. I will not give you occasion to mock me, old woman. This is a story about failure. You set out to do something. Nobody believes what you do because failure is baked into the cake. You see?
And Officer Joan stood before Grandma. Grandma looked up at Officer Joan. You are the law. You find my grandson. Back in the vehicle, her partner Dan smirked, wolfing down a chili dog. So now we gotta chase down some wacko stole a snake from the zoo? Whatever. Shouldn't be too hard. Sounds like he can't even tie his own shoes. Joan stays silent, stares through the windshield in thought. We go back to the footage. Then we make a plan. Dan wiped his stubby fingers on his uniform. I bet you $5 this wannabe comes crying back to Grandma by tomorrow morning. Joan said nothing. Then she said, "Shut up and drive."
Mr. Snake. The snake is exhausted. Wannabe won't stop talking, eating snacks, playing with the radio. The snake just wants to be quiet. Each of us stands a distance from ourselves. Wannabe says, "So, tell me about this rock star." Snake doesn't respond. Wannabe says, "Grandma, in her old man book, I realized it's about rock stars, you know? Like Moses, Pharaoh, Jonah. You know that one, Snake?" "Yeah." "How do I guess your name anyway? Wait, let me try. Is it Bildad? Jethro? Esther? Dang. You know what is very interesting, Mr. Snake, is that we are on a road trip. How did this happen? Because I just love road trips. Do you love road trips, Mr. Snake?" And the 1,000-Year Snake did not answer. "I'll tell you, one of the great road trip movies is the 10 Commandments. Okay, maybe not a first choice, but essential. And in a lot of ways, you and me now, we're doing an updated version about rock stars, Moses, Pharaoh. I love the part when Pharaoh looks down at Moses and he grins. 'Come now, Moses. Are there no magicians in your land that you bring me snakes?'" You see what I mean? Because Pharaoh is slick.
Look at Wannabe. His eyes shine too bright. He cannot read the signals. I see this city moving. I can't crack the code. I'll be honest, Mr. Snake, I've made some mistakes. I got a job in security, went to work, sat at my desk, ate my sandwich, and the hours drifted. And then lo and behold, I jumped up from that desk. I cried, "I am not supposed to be here. There are no robbers to guard against in this place." And so, I decided to become the robber. Well, I guess you know what happened. I thought I was doing them a favor. But mistakes lead to the highest virtue. Bad behavior can be an initiation. You believe that, right, Mr. Snake? That mistakes lead to the highest virtue? I've always thought, you know, if I could somehow really understand failure, then I would know about magic. So Grandma put me outside.
Wannabe stopped the car. His face fell. "Mr. Snake, I cannot drive like this any longer. The silence is unbearable. Tell me what to do, Mr. Snake." "I know Moses went to the woods and spoke with the old man just like you and me talking now." And then he jumped up and ran from the stolen car. He set up Mr. Snake on a stone and he said, "Speak to me, O wise snake." And the snake looked down upon him and said these words, "Wannabe, you are a fool. You stole a snake, stole a car, stole clothes from the dollar store. Who can save you now?" "You can, Mr. Snake. You can." The snake sighed. He was tired of magic. Everybody craving magic. Why? Because life is never enough. We are never enough for ourselves. And the 1,000-Year Snake looked down upon Wannabe and his two shiny eyes. And he said, "Very well."
And the road spilled out in front of them, another snake with a mind of its own. He thought, we live in this world of voices. Really, it is a war of voices. Who gets heard? The old man? He was the first celebrity, so he claimed back in the day. It was just the old man show. One voice and everybody listened, but then more and more voices grew, showed up, people got confused. It was babble on, man. Were you part of that scene to let the cat out the bag? Or the babble out of the bag, so to speak? In the war of listening, I'm not sure. Can all voices become equal? Is that even possible? It makes my head hurt, man.
Witness Grandma dozing in her chair. She dreams of Wanabe. He holds up a guitar. An unholy sound tears up through the sky. And Wanabe looks scared. Is it a video game or for real? And Grandma jerked up from her chair, picked up the phone. "Officer Joan Arc? I know where to find my grandson."
Problems of boredom and fascination. The 1,000-year snake could not remember the last time he slept. My blood is cold, but runs in a frenzy. The old man called paradise a garden, but the snake knew better. Really, paradise was a laboratory. The old man was playing with these mortals. They were toys, machines that blew up and lost their minds. So many stories, winners and losers, and all fall into dust. Mr. Snake stared through the windshield. The nonstop talker, Wanabe, rambled on about rock and roll. Sadness spread like wings out through the car and into the dark sky. You know how they really see you, Wanabe? Said the 1,000-year snake. What are you talking about? So desperate to be seen and heard. Do you know what they see? Well, they're gonna see a rock star. No, they see a cartoon, a flop, a failure. You're wrong. You are telling lies, Mr. Snake, like Grandma. Planting seeds of fear in my mind. Maybe you don't want me to be famous. Maybe you actually believe in the old man way. You should know better. For we are bandits and rock stars. So shut it, Mr. Snake. He hit the gas, and they shot forward.
And before long, they came to a guitar store. A figure like a skeleton appeared. His face was ancient, carved up by years and bad behavior. A voice ruined by cigarettes. He wore chains, black leather, and sunglasses. It was the washed-up rocker. "Can I help you?" he said. "Hold up," said Wanabe. "Is this who you brought me to meet, Snake?" The snake looked back. "How can I help you?" said the washed-up rocker. "Pleasure to meet you," said Wanabe. "I'm a bandit and a rock star. You better give me a guitar to try out." "Which guitar would you like to try?" "Well, the most expensive one. Let me play that one." "Very well," said the washed-up rocker. He smiled at the 1,000-year snake like they were regular customers, led them to a case in the corner, and handed Wanabe a gold and purple guitar. "Go ahead, buddy. Let's see what you got." and Wanabe froze. His arms drooped. He did not know what to do. But then, Mr. Snake blinked his eyes, and Wanabe's hands came to life. Wanabe started to play. The sound tore up through the guitar store. The washed-up rocker fell down. "Oh, damn, you can play." Wanabe smiled drunk. "It's my moment." "Open your phones, fuckers. Record me now. The Wannabe Zealot. I fucking rock." And that's when Grandma hobbled up into the store, followed by Officers Joan and Dan. Grandma held up her cane. "Stop this nonsense, Wanabe!" "Put down the guitar," said Officer Joan. Wanabe was surrounded. Grandma on one side, the law on the other. He looked back at Mr. Snake and nodded, and the 1,000-year snake sighed. He blinked his eyes. His body coiled up, and then he flew up into the air, and he came down. His mouth grew wide, and he swallowed Wanabe entirely. Grandma screamed, "You disgusting snake! Stop this treachery." But it was too late. Wanabe was gone.
He was in a dark tunnel, full of doors. Behind every door was a voice. Wanabe could hear them all. And as soon as you see a door, the question comes, which one? Go ahead and knock. Ring the bell. Wanabe didn't move. He was swallowed up. Were they still inside the guitar store?
Ideas and conclusions. The washed-up rocker was confused. Dan helped him to stand. What happened? He saw a snake eat a man playing the guitar. It didn't make sense, but also kind of made sense. And the old lady screaming, his head pounded, caught between worlds, as usual.
"Who are you?" said Grandma. "What is your business with that creature?" "Huh? What? Nothing. I'm just a washed-up rocker, lady." "No, there was treachery between you, I saw it. I never saw that snake before in my life." And that's when Dan's face lit up. "I know who you are. You were in that band, Pharaoh's Wrath. You guys rocked." Joan remembered too, and she remembered the accident. "I was a big deal. We sold out stadiums. People lost their minds. Whatever we played. But then the accident happened," said Joan. "Yeah, the accident," said the rocker. "It was all my fault." "What happened?" said Dan. "What happened? Everybody wants you to rock. They want you to live out all the behaviors they can't do until it gets too much. Ain't that right, Grandma? Ain't that right, Grandma? Is that what happened to your grandson, Wanabe? He's nothing like you, snake charmer." "Well, desolation and lust, I knew it all. It was awesome. And I paid the price. So now I'm a ghost, selling guitars to teens at the strip mall. So be it." "Boo-hoo," said Grandma. "I demand justice for Wanabe. I demand an investigation. Bring him in." But Joan and Dad just looked at each other. The washed-up rocker turned to her with savage eyes. "Go ahead and cast stones, old lady. Meanwhile, your grandson swallowed up inside that snake, getting digested, learning whatever he needed to learn.
It was a dark tunnel, and I was surrounded by doors. Every door is a question. It's hard not to get nervous. It felt like some kind of a test. I don't know the right answer. You need instincts. What's behind this door? That one. It could be embarrassing or dangerous or awesome. Who knows? Me and Jonah, we were the same now. So what happened to Jonah? He was on the run, escaped by ship. The old man was chasing him with winds and voices, and the sailors cried out. Meanwhile, Jonah was asleep, maybe drunk. The sailors wake him up and toss him into the water like a sacrifice, and instantly the water is calm. Was this all part of the plan?
Yeah. I read philosophy. I mean, it's boring, but I read about it. And this philosopher says, your new life begins with confession. So, shall I confess? Do you want to hear my dirty deeds? My dirty thoughts? You want me to open the garbage so you can have a look? Grandma said, "Wannabe, take out the garbage." But I just looked at it. If you look at garbage long enough, worms appear. Wriggling around, investigating the garbage. Worms are fascinating. They know exactly what to do. All my life, I wanted to be a worm, or a rock star, or both. A rock star worm. Yeah. According to the old man book, Jonah spent 3 days inside the beast. Then he got vomited back to dry land. So where is dry land anyway? The correct door is this one, or that one. And anyway, what's going on in there? Maybe it's a party with wine and bad behavior, but I don't drink wine, so maybe it's time to start. Bad behavior can be an initiation. And Wannabe tried the last door. A story is supposed to give answers, and he moved through. Hollow, hollow, hollow. It was a giant theater, and Wannabe made an entrance. Actually, he forgot, ran back, and started over. Wannabe made an entrance. But there was no audience. Bright lights? No audience? This is dumb. What's the point of a show if nobody's watching? And right then he heard a voice say, swallow, hollow, throat to mouth, from tongue to teeth. Go ahead, make a speech for the voice to follow. And Wannabe cleared his throat. Hello? Out there? Are you ready? He struggled to speak, struggled to move. There was no sound, just an echo for the first time. No sound. Wannabe craned his neck, looked out into the audience. He climbed down into the seats and sat down in the front row, and he waited for the show to start.